Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the podcast Strikes Back. My name is George and you're listening to our best of 2018 so far with the boys Connor
Hello.
and Benny.
Hey there.
So guys, as tradition holds, we are halfway through the year, so it's time for us to count down our top 5 favorites so far that we've seen this year. We will also have our worst of the year up as well, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So guys, we've got 5 best of the year so far. And what a year it's been. We've had some pretty tremendous films, some massive heavyweights.
In a way, it's like every other year.
I'm referring specifically to Infinity War. That has finally come out, a big culmination of the MCU. But plenty of other films came out. So, Benny, why don't you give us a few? I think honorable mentions. You wanted to give a shout out
films
to?
I didn't want to go unnoticed. Not everything could fit in the top 5. In fact, only 5 films can fit in the top 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
By the way, George, thanks for flying back over from your wedding this week to record with us.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah,
You too, Connor, I guess.
I just was able to dial that in.
Yeah, just had a spare day.
It was no connecting flight, so it was just a one
Yeah.
way.
Brilliant.
Bada boom.
Brilliant.
I had to
Anyway.
take a submarine.
So just quickly, a couple of films I wanted to mention that stood out to me this year were, firstly, Blockers, the John Cena comedy from a couple of months ago. Low profile film, kind of just came and went. I thought it was so much better than I expected. Just a really heartfelt comedy. I think I said briefly on the show when I saw it, it's kind of like the Superbad for girls, just with a much larger parent subplot in it. But just a really surprising, heartwarming, and very funny movie that I actually recommend. Annihilation didn't make my top 5 this year, unfortunately, but absolutely worth a mention. I feel like we'll be talking about that later, so I won't say too much about it. Upgrade we saw recently, probably just a bit too recently to really have settled in too much for me. Amazing Australian action film. Very cool. And a blockbuster this year that I liked a lot more than I expected was Pacific Rim Uprising, which I kind of loved.
I'd second that.
Unabashedly. So
Can I add one to your honorables list
Absolutely.
that I don't think will be on the top 5 for anyone? Is Rampage. Oddly enough, the
you
reason
may be surprised.
No, well, maybe, yeah, I won't say too much about it then. Like you never know.
But I definitely agree with all of those.
Yeah, same.
Upgrade didn't make my top 5, and that was one that I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but that'll go down as a really solid sci-fi, indie sort of sci-fi flick from this year. One I'd like to mention is The Breaker Uppers by Madeline Sammy and Jackie Van Beek, directing and starring in the film. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi were script consultants on this. And it's a New Zealand comedy, a drama, and it's just hilarious. And I encourage, if you get the chance to see this film, it's really great. And I had a tremendously good time with it. Yeah. So any other honorable mentions, fellas?
I don't think so. I think most of the ones that are in my technical honorable mentions will be mentioned, and if they aren't, then we'll discuss them afterwards. I need to say something before we get started. Despite having a movie podcast, I have not actually seen that many films this year. I realized as I was trying to put together my top 10 or my top 5 and my bottom 5, I haven't seen enough to fill them up. So I put together 5 for my my best. I couldn't fill up my 5 worst.
Wow. George was saying he struggled as well. I didn't have the easiest time.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
You
when we get to
traditionally
it.
see more films than us, though. So
Yeah. But I don't watch movies I think it'll be shit.
that too.
Sorry, one I wanted to mention in the honorable mentions is Ghost Stories that we saw for Sydney Film Festival.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun.
Cool little horror flick.
Mm.
An anthology style, 3 stories that interweave some really great scares in there.
Yeah.
Fantastic atmosphere. I thought quite inventive. There was a few issues I had with the film that really soured the experience because I was so on board with this film and I really I wanted it to keep going at the rate it was going.
Yeah.
And it probably would have been an all-time classic for me, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, definitely worth a watch either way. Not by any means, I think, a horror comedy, but it was very enjoyable. It was fun horror.
Yeah.
Really rode that line really well.
Yeah. So if you guys get the chance to go see that, I'd definitely give that a recommend for sure.
Yeah. We ready to go?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first since everyone's looking at me
Yeah.
and pointing at me. My number 5 pick, let's get this right out of the way since it's already been mentioned, is Rampage. This movie was fucking awesome and exceeded expectations in every regard. Like, it's a hell of a B movie. It's not conventionally good, certainly.
And that's the thing. It is very much a B movie.
Like, I almost feel weird putting it on my list at all because a lot of people are going to be like, what the fuck is this?
Well, that's
guy?
why I assumed that you hadn't, just
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel like it belongs up there.
Yeah, well, I tallied up my other movies, and there's probably some of my honorable mentions. Oh, well, there's definitely honorable mentions I think are better than this, and ones, but I don't know if they're ones that I enjoyed more. Like, this was just such a solid time at the movies. Just hits all those B movie notes so perfectly, and as we went on and about in our review, the special effects was just such an amazing showcase. That just those kind of two elements combined made it a hell of a good time.
I think also going into that film with such low expectations and getting genuinely surprised.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen that often in the cinema. We see
Not
so
with
many
blockbusters.
trailers. We see so much footage. We basically know the main beats of the film by the time you go in. It was really refreshing to go into Rampage and actually have a fantastic time and be blown away by it and genuinely, as I said, surprised.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can definitely see why you've put it in there. The only reason why I didn't put it in there was I've got to see it again because I think when we came out, I was really amped on it, and I want to see it again at home to see, you know, what like the barometer.
And yeah, now with a big positive opinion of it, you might swing the other way.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So for my 5th one, this one was a real struggle because I was pretty confident with my top 4, but my top 5th one was really like, I don't know whether or not.
Yeah, it's the same.
I did put Upgrade up on my
Cool.
my 5th one. Cool film. Like, there's no other way to describe it. I had my issues with it, particularly with the beginning, but once it got going, I really loved kind of the twists and turns. And it's not often that a movie can really surprise me with a twist, like really surprise me. So when one does, I'm really amped with it.
Because you're a very smart man.
I'm incredibly smart. Yes.
Very clever. Not everyone knows this about Connor.
He has a high IQ.
He's a big Rick and Morty fan.
He's a big Rick and Morty fan.
No, I tend to figure out the plot or the general structure of it, you know, and I don't get surprised by it that often. And this one really kind of did throw me a curveball on it, which I really liked. I really liked the way that they had set everything up. Yeah.
I think we talked about in the review, I said the ending improved that film and took it
Definitely.
up probably from maybe a 6 or 7 to an 8 or a 9. It really had impact, the twist, how everything wove together. It was made that Upgrade feel like a really complete package. So I can definitely see why you put it in your top 5. It was a really fun film.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I think everyone should check this one out.
Yeah. For me, it was the middle chunk, though, when it's really going. That's what really did it for me. Like, that is such cool action and really spectacular filmography or cinematography.
Yeah, the fight choreography, the camera work in there, very
very
new and
cool.
inventive.
Yeah.
I think my only issue with the film was my expectations, honestly, because any regular listeners will know that we were pretty hyped for this one.
Oh,
I think it's the
super
only
hyped,
trailer
yeah.
we've ever spoken about 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. And gladly
Yeah.
talking about it 2 weeks in a row.
I think that's hit 12 million at the worldwide box office.
For that film, that's
off
really
a
good.
3 to
Bonafide
5
success,
million budget. So, you know, this part of Blumhouse's tilt. So I hope to see more stuff.
George, you're number 5.
My number 5 is A Quiet Place.
Cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I had a really good time with this one. A big criteria for a movie is, does it hold my interest, and do we linger too much on something when it doesn't have purpose, when it's not purposeful?
It's really economic storytelling.
Yeah. And A Quiet Place was a 90-minute in out, you know, snappy horror thriller that was really effective, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it had some cool ideas, some great sequences, fantastic performances, played with the medium of film, using visuals with like some of the characters who are hearing impaired. You know, really was some really inventive stuff, and I had just such a great time with it. And as I said, I just thought the fact that it was so economic and the ending, I was expecting it to go for another 20 minutes and it was like, boom, credits. But I was like, well done, sir.
That is your
Well
biggest
done.
criteria for
Yeah.
a good movie.
Can I stay awake the entire way?
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Yeah, seriously, boom, thank you. I really appreciated it on that merit.
Yeah, I did not love that movie. It was so hyped up, which never helps.
Did we see it before the hype though?
No, I think I saw it
It was
directly
like it was
as the
hyped
hype
up
arrived.
like during the marketing
Yeah,
phase. Like,
yeah,
it
that's
was-
right. Yeah,
No, because
It
the
sort
early
of premiered at
marketing,
the
the
festival,
early
didn't
marketing
it?
wasn't, because I remember distinctly saying that I thought it was going to be crap.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Despite the liking the
Yeah,
trailer.
we didn't like the trailer. We were saying it looked like what was the comparison we made? That Will
I
Smith.
Am Legend.
I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was definitely better than I, very early on expected. But just reminded me of other movies that I've seen that I like more. So just not a classic for me. No need to revisit it. I don't want to see a sequel.
That Joel Edgerton one.
No, I'm thinking even more like Signs.
Signs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I've got to see that. It Comes at Night. Have to see that.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of A Quiet Place?
Well, it's on my list.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
higher on my list.
Okay.
I obviously I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
Cool.
I thought that was. I really agree with you. I love economic storytelling. I love something that doesn't link. There's some movies that I think are enhanced by taking their time. Perfect example of that is Blade Runner 2045. I think that movie is
49.
49. Sorry, is perfectly paced for this kind of and it suits like the big drawn out scenes and all that.
Yeah, I think that's where I was saying purposefulness.
Yeah. This one it feels really compact. It feels really economical. And I was really blown away by the performances by everyone.
Yeah, same. So, number 4. What you got at number 4, Benjamin?
My next one is one that, as usual, I'm pretty sure you guys didn't see, is The Death of Stalin.
I really want to see this though.
Which I think is technically a 2017 film, 2018 here though. Yeah, just an amazing, hilarious political satire film set in Soviet Russia with just a bunch of British actors and American
love the
actors.
accents.
Yeah, just doing their natural accents or even more arch kind of British accents than they normally have. And it's just it's amazing. It's hilarious and it gets the point across so well. It's It's directed by Armando Iannucci, who's behind The Thick of It, the British political satire show, which is also very similar vein, very hilarious, and Veep, which has been popular in recent years.
In the States.
Just so funny, this movie. So many people went into it expecting... I don't know what they were expecting, but they went into it and were just really upset that there were like British accents. They were so confused. And those people are really stupid. And this
I was
movie's
like, just
great.
watch the trailer. They're all very clearly not Russian accents.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not meant to be accurate one-to-one historical
Well,
depiction.
No, not what you're looking at, but in
it's
the
evoking-
truths it reveals,
yeah,
it is
it's
more
evoking-
real than any historical
Exactly.
drama. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not like a one-to-one documentary. But the
God, no.
truths and the themes of
The
those people and
absurdity of all of it.
their role in history
Yeah.
is all clearly there.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Connor said, must definitely dial this one in because
Yeah.
everyone was really positive on it.
Right now you're not
Stacked
around
cast.
it, but you want to be around
I
it.
want to be around
Yeah.
it.
Stacked cast. Like seriously
Stacked cast.
Going, my fourth one is Black Panther.
BP, baby.
Yeah. I think that this one I was pretty confident was in fourth place simply because I'll tell you what let it down was a lot of the CG. You could just tell that some of the kind of
You could
the
still
special
everyone was
effects.
busy with Infinity War.
Well, yeah, and like I get why it's a great excuse and all. And I think that the villain and the story arc is really what pulls that movie through. But yeah, like that. I can't argue it. It's in my top 5. I really enjoyed it.
Well, it's telling that a movie that has just really quite weak visual effects was so widely embraced and praised because it is
Yeah.
that good outside of that factor.
Yeah.
I think it's domestically in the United States still higher than Infinity War.
Wow.
Even though Infinity War worldwide has more box office haul.
Yeah.
That's it really was an important film for so many people, and it handled what it needed to handle, that subject matter, very, very well. Ryan Coogler did a fantastic job with that.
They're incredibly clever about when they released and how they released. I mean, just tapping into that cultural, I guess, divide or angst or whatever you want to call it. That movie spoke, and it was really effective.
Wakanda Forever. I'm going to quickly retroactively put that in my honorable mentions as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not in my top 5.
Yeah.
But still a fantastic film.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 is Hereditary. We didn't get a chance to review this, but
Connor refused to watch it.
I've been scarred by The Witch, and that's not to say that I found it scary. In fact, the exact opposite.
Yeah, The Witch is probably a good comparison, as well as Rosemary's Baby, even Mother from last year, Darren Aronofsky, a number of films, The Shining. This film was, it's not for everyone, that's for sure. It's definitely not for everyone, but as someone who likes quirky, inventive horror thrillers, this really appealed to me, and there's some amazing performances in this.
Amazing.
Like
Toni Collette.
Holy shit, man.
She absolutely has to be nominated for Best Actress for this movie.
It goes some places, man, and the family drama aspects to it, this way this family's getting pulled apart. It's very cerebral kind of film. The only weakness of it is maybe it drags a little bit in the middle. You know, I think it's 2 hours, 2 hours 20.
It's a long one, yeah.
Yeah, you could probably shave off some bits in the middle.
So the second time I watched it, having seen it 2 times, it flew by. I loved every second of it.
There's some images that I can look back to in my head.
Yeah.
And it's like they're burnt into my mind.
Yeah.
And that to me is a signifier of a film that has a unique look and unique storytelling and those images that stick in your mind. There's not many films that do that.
First time director, which is just unbelievable.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. I'm very, very excited to see what this guy has coming up in the future. But did you kind of get that melting pot kind of vibe? If it sort of was like a bit of this, bit of that, but it had its very own unique DNA.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the impressive thing about it is it's telling a story that we've heard before. Like it's just whatever haunting, occult, demonic story, but it has such its own identity, and the way it lays it out is not just unexpected but shocking. Like the midpoint of this movie comes along, and you're just it pulls the rug out from under you. Like, I don't know where this is going to go now.
Yeah,
because it's following the normal steps, and it's great. But then it's just like, okay, what? And that's the best thing I could ever hope for in a movie. And this is another one that was hyped up like crazy, and I don't think it's anywhere near the scariest movie ever made.
No way.
I do find it amazingly creepy. But it's mostly this amazing sense of dread that hangs over the entire film.
It's the atmosphere.
Yeah. But at the same time, stuff has stuck with me a little bit, and there's a great little easily imitatable noise from the film, which I guess is in the trailer. But that's just a stroke of genius.
That was like the equivalent of the Conjuring clap, it's that same little motif.
Yeah.
But the marketing for this film did it no favors. Like they really sold it as a horror. And it's not a horror.
I think it's a horror. I think it's absolutely a horror.
It's not a horror in terms of like the mass audience sort of viewpoint on what a horror is.
Okay.
This is very much more of an art.
I should put a stop to this because we always get put down this rabbit hole of defining what the horror genre is, and I'm guilty of it as well. Like, I said the same thing about The Witch. It's not a horror and all that kind of stuff.
But it's horrific, so then therefore it is horror. But there's definitely
it's definitely horror, but it's not like a roller coaster jump scare horror.
Exactly.
It's and like you said, a cerebral horror.
When you put when you say scariest movie of all time, that's what people
general audiences go in and they want Annabelle creation.
Exactly.
And they get The Shining, which nowadays isn't scary at all, but it's a great horror movie. I love this movie to absolute death. And it's really rewatchable.
Where does this guy go from here? This director.
He retires. You can't make anything after this.
I cannot believe this is his first feature.
It's crazy.
I cannot wait for what comes next.
I hope he sticks with horror too, because
Me too.
I love to see what comes out of it.
Me too.
Anyway.
Number 3?
It's me next.
Yeah, number 3s.
My number 3 is Marvel's Avengers Infinity War.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's the Avengers theme song.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 3, huh?
Number 3, yeah.
Cool.
I just had a couple I liked more.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I know what's gonna.
Yeah.
I know what one
I
is. I don't know
cannot
what the other is.
believe that you put Infinity War below that.
Everyone already knows what's coming if they've listened to the show. So this movie is a miracle of blockbuster filmmaking. I don't know. I've watched it 6 times. As far as I'm concerned, it's about as close to perfect as these things can get. I don't think it's like an all-time masterpiece film. Like, it's not the kind of movie that's going to make you change your life and
it's a cultural
make
event.
you feel things. Yeah, but it is an event. It's a once in a lifetime thing.
And
It's
events are
very special.
contextual. Like, I mean, if you were to go back and watch Star Wars now, it is dated. I mean, genuinely, it has. But at the time, you have to understand it with the context of it being an event, and I feel like that's what Infinity War will be. It is the event of the Marvel Universe, and if you look back on it, it may not be on its own the best movie ever made, but it is.
But I think you can even take away that context partly, like, and in 20 years, if you were to watch through the Marvel films for the first time, not knowing much about them, this would still personally, just as one viewer, be like, holy crap, this is amazing how well this is put together, like how well they've culminated all of this stuff into one movie.
Yeah, you could go and watch this and be like, wow, there's all this other... I can go watch the Iron Man films by himself. I can go watch Guardians of the Galaxy. If that's your first step into the Marvel Universe, man, that's pretty amazing way to start.
Yeah.
But I completely agree, man. This we spoke before it was coming out. The weight and the number of characters they had to deal with in this film, like, it could have all crumbled. And somehow they did it.
I don't think this movie gets anywhere near enough kudos for how well it manages to actually tell a story
And
with
like
100,000 characters.
The script.
Yeah.
People aren't praising the script
Marcus
enough.
and McFeely and whoever else is in there.
Definitely, I don't know if you guys have checked it out. They've got an interview on Collider. Definitely go check that out because they really have an interesting... their way they approached writing this film. It's really interesting.
It's so crazy. I went through recently and looked at the are we good, George? Yeah. the runtime, the character runtime for each character in the film. And, Captain America has like 6 minutes or something. It's crazy. Like,
Thor would be up there as the highest, surely.
It's like,
wasn't it
there's
Iron Man?
There's a few. There's like Iron Man and
Iron Man was the highest.
Yeah,
And
Thanos was the highest.
Yeah. That's really telling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazingly well balanced, even though it's completely imbalanced.
Yeah.
So the only reason why this isn't higher up your list is you like a couple films more?
Yeah. I couldn't like this movie any more than I do, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. But having seen it 6 times, I'm maybe a little exhausted.
And I think that says enough as it is. Yeah. Like it's been good enough that you've gone back and watched it 6 times.
Yeah.
I'm dying to pick this up on Blu-ray.
Yeah. All right, we're on to number 3, aren't we?
Yep.
For me, that was American Animals.
Nice.
I really enjoyed this film.
Can I just say this is my number 3 as well?
Okay.
So
Yeah,
let's
let's just double.
tag team, cool.
We talked about it. Ben, you didn't watch it with us.
Didn't.
Because you're mean.
I just don't like hanging out with you guys outside of work.
Why do you do it so much then? I was kind of taken aback by the way that this movie was structured. There's a gimmick in it that's not quite it doesn't feel gimmicky, but it definitely is a gimmick. That really I don't know if I said throw me, but God, it's interesting.
It's a very new way of telling a true crime story.
Yeah.
And as a cinematic experience, the sound design and the cinematography, it's amazing. The performances are amazing. I was really
at the end blew my mind.
Everything turned on its head.
Sorry, I hadn't spoken for a while.
And then that was one of the only films recently to really make me feel a level of anxiety. Like it just, and it hit into a core. When you watch a horror film and you get that sense of dread, there's still the sense of that's an unnatural feeling. Like that's a feeling that you only really get being or watching those kind of circumstances. Whereas this felt very real. Like we've all had this situation where we've been, in peer pressure or, kind of we're in something that we shouldn't be type thing. And like, there's a very particular kind of anxiety that comes about because of that. And that tapped into it for me.
Fuck you.
What's happening?
No, I completely agree. And that film, there's a heist aspect to it. And there's 4 main characters. And you're almost like the 5th character in this journey with them. Like the anxiety, as you said, the anxiety levels, the way... Some of the stuff that happens in this is just insane. I highly recommend this film.
Have you guys looked into how accurate the film is to real life events at all?
Yeah.
Or were you just like don't do that. 'cause
No,
it never
like,
works out
well,
well.
you can't. Well,
There's a bit of a spoiler with the gimmick with the film,
Hmm.
and I don't really want to give it away because I
don't.
think it's
it's fairly accurate to the
but yeah,
to what
it's-
happened.
Cool.
But in saying that, there is an element of grey area to it
Yeah,
where that's
just go watch the film. Just go watch the film.
But yeah,
it's
I
not
think
out,
it's
so I
coming.
can't.
I think it's coming out soon.
Cool.
I think it's getting a wide release.
It's a cool trailer. I'll definitely check it out.
It's I'm really excited to go see it again.
Mm.
And great performance from Quicksilver,
Evan Peters.
Evan Peters.
Mm.
I was about
And-
to say
and your
Peter
fav-
Evans,
And your favorite actor,
the
from Dunkirk.
guy, the
Guy
little
that
kid
looks
from
real weird.
Dunkirk.
Oh, the weird
yeah.
Ty Sheridan's ugly brother.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's unsettled by that. Those are our number threes.
Okay, I guess we're back to me then.
We're right back to
Can you guys do this every time?
Yeah. Just ping pong
okay.
back and forth.
So my number 2 now is Hereditary, which we've already
It
talked
made it
about
to
a little
first?
bit. Yeah, it made it to first.
Come on, look,
Have you seen it?
no.
Yeah, exactly. So Hereditary, there's not much more to say, but I was really blown away by this movie. It's an all-time classic for me. This is one of those ones, I want to own and watch again in the years. Show the kids one day. you
Yeah.
know.
So this made it above. So why did this make it above Infinity War? I know you
Not
hate
to-
explaining the process of why. It's like, I picked one.
not to sound like a hipster or anything, but Infinity War's, that's the big mass market blockbuster thing. Whereas this, to me, is more what film is about. Like this is just a movie that actually, like, I don't know, sticks in my mind in a way that Infinity War, while an amazing, popcorn experience and, like I said, a miracle, that's what it is. It's a big blockbuster for the masses. Whereas this is one that, even to another degree, like, it kind of needs defense because so many people are going into this and just being real dumb about it. Like, audience
No, I
giving
get you.
it the D+ cinema score is like a joke. Like,
Yeah,
people,
that's
Didn't
fucked.
Mother get D+ as
Yeah,
well?
it's very.
I think it got an F. No,
Yeah.
it did get an F. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Mother's
because it's
more
one of like
esoteric
10
than
or
this
something.
one.
Yeah, like if you're going to go watch a piece of art, engage with that art. Don't just be like, oh, that was stupid. That wasn't scary.
Infinity War could almost be reduced down to a comic book. You could take that story and put it into a comic book, and it would be a different experience.
I highly disagree with
but-
that. No.
I'm just trying to say you can do that to a certain degree, but with Hereditary, that uses as you said, the art of film, the medium of film. That putting it in a different context, you can't really tell that story any other way other than with the way it's presented. So that's kind of my take on that. But I think, what's my list? Yeah, we'll get into that a bit later. But,
All right, on to number
yeah.
2. 2 for me is A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place number 2.
I really enjoyed that
You
film.
really didn't watch a lot of
Wow.
movies this year, did you?
Well, I mean, to be honest, Quiet Place. Quiet Place would have still made my top 5.
Mm.
Yeah, Black Panther, Upgrade, maybe even American Animals, are tradable.
I think it's a solid
But
little list.
A Quiet Place, I really enjoyed that film. I loved the acting. I loved the condense and economic storyline. I don't think that there's really anything about that film that I can fault. I'll defend pretty much everything in that film to the death.
There's a couple of things that it's like
I know, and I
we got into some nitpicks. in
and I
that
defended
thing,
those
yeah.
nitpicks.
yeah, like having a baby in that environment.
Don't do that.
That's
Wear a condom.
yeah.
There's got to be so many.
There's
Around.
got to be a
Somebody left.
factory.
Yeah.
It's got to be a factory.
Yeah.
Factory.
Yeah.
So yeah, number 2. Wow. Okay. So that's very high up. This is number 5. This just got into my top 5.
Mhm.
Like what
No, I
was
just-
those aspects? Is it just the tightness?
Yeah, I think it was just going.
Fuck.
Yeah, I think it was going in with no particularly large
Wild
expectations, and just being really happy with a condensed film. Like I had the same experience where it was, it ended and I was kind of like, oh, okay, it's ended. Like it was ended on a high. I loved the ending, like the last 30 seconds of that film. For some reason, that really got me. I loved the tone shift of that. Yeah, and I genuinely enjoyed the acting. I think that was really well done. I genuinely can't fault it.
Good
Yeah.
dino action. Yeah, the more time goes on, the less I care about that movie. I don't know why. I will probably watch it again and enjoy it more than I expect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting.
Number 2 for me is Avengers: Infinity War.
Good pick.
You know, we've said a lot. I think I saw it 4 times in the cinema.
That's a lot for you.
Loved it. Just really loved every moment of it. I saw The Last Jedi 3 times, and the third time I watched it, I was like, I probably should have stuck at 2. And with this one, every time I saw it, I was like, bring it on, motherfuckers.
It's so dense. There's just so much every
So
time
much.
to get into. Yeah.
So, as I said, I cannot wait to get this on Blu-ray. I hope it's a good package. I hope there's a good commentary on there, because I really just want to sink my teeth into those behind-the-scenes kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the first movie in a while where I'm like, I want to see how all this was done because
Yeah.
it's crazy. Just a quick plug as well for the how it should have ended for Avengers: Infinity War. Very
Oh,
good,
really?
well done. Yeah,
Is that with
I
the Doctor
felt-
Strange
Yeah, that's
circle-y thing that he does?
sure.
and just
The
chopped off
portal
his
thing.
arm.
Portal-y, circle-y,
Yeah.
thingly.
Sure.
Cool.
They pointed out a lot of ways that could have been over really quick.
Yeah.
Nothing will be better than their old stuff. Like one of their first videos, which was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones. Their take on that is one of the best, I still think. Anyways,
Yeah,
So it made it to
that's my
2 for
number
you.
2. That's my number 2.
it's a fair spot.
Yeah, I think the only reason why it's not number 1 is this other one that I want to talk
Yeah.
about
Cool.
is just an all-time favorite.
Yeah.
And this is an all-time favorite, but yeah.
Moving on, we can skip Ben because we've heard his pitch already.
I've talked about this extensively on the
On
show.
to me.
Despite you guys never having seen it and us never having done a review, my favorite so far. This is just the one that I don't know. I enjoyed so much, and I want people to see it. It was a recommendation.
Is it out?
Is drum roll Game Night, starring Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. I don't know why you shake your head so much at the film that I really enjoy.
I genuinely cannot imagine how Game Night, it just doesn't, in my head, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
saying
gonna
it's
watch it this afternoon.
Not saying it's the best film of the year, but it's my favorite. It was the biggest surprise. A movie that comedy has the lowest hit rate of any genre. I feel, especially once you get a bit older. You've seen a bunch of comedies. It sucks because you can't go back to the old comedies because they don't hold up. You can't watch new comedies because none of them are good. So it was such a great experience to sit in a movie and just laugh out loud for the entire runtime. And not to mention that it's just an amazingly skillfully crafted film. Even if you guys watch it and you don't think it's very funny or you don't like it very much, you will still be really impressed by the filmmaking on display. I think the score is fantastic. It's his awesome 80s synth score. And it's just a really gorgeous movie with some surprisingly great action in it.
Cool.
I love this movie to death. It's I think it'll be my number 1 at the end of the year too.
I think I'm gonna love this.
I-
I'm gonna.
You've
I can
talked
see
about-
I've talked it up
See
way
right
too
here.
much. Yeah, so
No, I'm going in with low expectations. Don't
cool,
worry.
good. That's how much you care about my opinion.
No, but I think it sounds very intriguing. I
think you'll dig-
the
'cause
references back to the game, the David
yeah,
Fincher
it's a
film.
real Fincher-esque production, which is
I'm
really
gonna,
cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna love this. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Watch Game
On-
Night, everyone.
On to my first. We've all had it in our lists. It's Avengers: Infinity War.
Boo.
The reason that I put this on the top is for something that you mentioned, Ben, is because this movie is a damn miracle. I don't know why, but I think that there's. So we talked about something like Mother that was last year, right? And there's a lot of people talking about the craft work that goes into Mother. I respect the people that made Avengers Infinity War 10 times more than I respect Mother.
Try coordinating a crew of 10,000 people.
Well, I mean, it's just it shouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
There's no reason that there should be that many characters, that many plots, that good a villain, and a movie that looks that good. That shouldn't come together like that on a movie that is this big and doesn't cost $1 billion. Like that to me doesn't make sense. And the fact that they pulled it off as well as they did is just, I don't know how it can't be number 1. Like this movie has gotten so many accolades and it has made so much money, and I still think it deserves more. Like I think that this should be praised as an absolute.
All hail Disney.
Well, yeah, like as an absolute masterpiece in terms of like what it achieved.
In terms of how it's put together, in the scale of the production, it really, like, I think any movie being any good is damn near a miracle. So something like this is, amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's somebody's number one.
Love this movie. Just really, it's a very special movie to me. I don't know. I feel like that time period in May, like I just was so excited. It was such a good time. I only have very fond memories of, and I'm sure for years to come, of that film coming out and the sort of event aspect of it.
I very rarely see a movie at the cinema more than once. Twice is, I'll go with a friend that hasn't seen it before. But to watch something 3 times for me, that's like, I don't do that.
And to pay $50 one of those times.
Yeah. Yeah. That was all right. Admittedly, it was not worth $50, but it kind of balances out between the rest of them.
We got a cool little medal out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
That was hugely disappointing.
Yeah, it's got a bronze. Shouldn't it be a gold medal?
Yeah, well.
My number one, before I die,
Quickly.
my number one is Annihilation.
Of course.
I saw that.
Yeah, this film is. I'm surprised it's not in either of your guys' top 5s, and I'm
It
intrigued.
easily could be.
I'm intrigued to hear about that. Because fuck y'all. But this film, like when I think about it, I have a feeling, and it evokes what this film's all about. There's so many images that come to my mind: the albino crocodile, the weird figure at the end, the sound design, the craftsmanship, the care,
The bear.
and another thing that I love about this is it's an all-female cast, and that's not something that is a deal clincher, or it's not like I chose this because it's only girls in it. It's just nice to see just a film where that wasn't the crux of it, like a Ghostbusters, or an Ocean's 8.
That wasn't a whole thing of
It's
the
not.
marketing
That's not
or
a
anything.
hook. That's not anything. And it's just humans dealing with this scenario that happened to be female. And I really like how that was handled. And it just seems like just sophisticated and forward thinking. So yeah, there's just so much to this film that I love. And even though we got it on Netflix, I'm really tempted to go buy it on Blu-ray. Just because I want to maybe get a commentary. I want to see more on this film. And it goes down as an all-time classic for me, for sure.
Yeah, I've got to watch this one again. I guess the only thing that hurt this movie for me is that his previous film, Ex Machina, would be number 1 on any year for me, like for a whole year. So this just didn't quite hit that high. But otherwise, this could be a 10 out of 10, but Ex Machina would be like a 12 out of 10. So
Yep.
It could very easily be on my list otherwise.
Should we do some maybe honorable mentions that didn't make it? Like I think that
Wait, just quickly, what's your take on Annihilation?
I didn't see it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You didn't
I
watch
know.
it?
I have watched surprisingly few films.
Wow.
No,
okay.
you've seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, but you haven't seen Annihilation.
But see, that's the thing. Like
You're the everyman,
I will
You're the
I'll
pleb.
chuck on films. I'll chuck on films while I'm doing other things. But if I was to watch Annihilation, that's something I would sit down and watch.
Yeah.
So I'll watch a lot of films that like I'll chuck it on while I'm cooking or something like that. But I would
That's
never
fair.
want to watch Annihilation.
We'll dial
while I
it
do
in Italy.
that. Yeah, shit, yeah, man.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. When we go back.
Yeah. Yeah, when we jump
'Cause
back
we've
on the
just
plane.
flown back to-
yeah.
Okay, good.
So,
Watch it on the plane.
keep up, George.
This was definitely not pre-recorded.
Any honorable mentions?
I wanted to
Cloverfield
put
Paradox?
Yeah. I just wanted to kind of chuck Incredibles there, just because I really enjoyed it and it's fresh in my mind. I was really impressed with that.
Cool.
Didn't make top 5, but I think it's worth mentioning.
Cool.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Anything else,
On
guys?
that note.
No, I think I mentioned everything. Ghost Stories. That's one. That's a movie.
Yeah, I went through like exhaustively and I've talked about everything I want to talk about.
Yeah,
Shame Solo didn't make it.
it'd have been
It's a
nice,
shame.
wouldn't it?
Would have been a
It's a
surprise.
shame.
Yeah, it'd be shocking.
All right, guys. So don't forget to check out our worst of the year so far, which is up right about now.
It'll be a bit more lively, I'm sure.
Yeah. Hopefully we get into some beef and biff in that. But we'll be back next week with the boy Benny.
Hello.
Flying solo. And Connor and I are heading back to Italy right about now.
Yeah.
So,
Yay.
see you, Connor.
See ya.
See you, Benny. Bye. This is definitely. I'm recording right now, so this is definitely going somewhere.
Where'd the rap go, George? You never released the rap.
Oh, what was the rap?
The rap you freestyled. The beginning of a show, and you never.
My name is George, and I'm here to say the Podcast Strikes Back is here to stay. Every motherfucking movie come on. Yeah, we're gonna count them all down.
Did you think that went well? Or?
No.
That's in my bottom 5.
What just happened right there? That's in my bottom 5. Not even a movie. I don't care. It's in my bottom 5.